Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way. Now, unfortunately today, as I've said numerous times this season, this isn't the match reaction I necessarily wanted to be making. And it's not really going to be a match reaction. I'm not going to be looking at key moments of the match and where it went wrong for Watford, because it didn't just go wrong for Watford in this match. It's been going wrong for Watford not just this season, not just last season, but we've been mismanaged as a club by the owners for a number of years. And ultimately, this situation we now find ourselves in is really a culmination of all the errors and mistakes the club has made over the past few years. And ultimately today it culminated with a former Watford manager who we sacked after 10 games, becoming our rivals manager in Luton Town, doing fantastically well with them. They currently sit in the 4th position, and they beat us in the derby today, which is probably the most hotly anticipated fixture, in the Watford and Luton fixture list each season. And we lost today very comfortably. Luton at no point looked under any real threat from Watford. The very start of the game we looked okay, and the very start of the second half we looked okay as well. But that's really it. And all I have to say, from my perspective, I'm not going to sit here and be delusional. I'm actually going to sit here and say fair play to Luton, and fair play to their players, and fair play to Rob Edwards, who has seen a situation. He's been put in a situation which was really unfortunate. He was sacked by Watford after 10 games. In them 10 games, he only actually lost 2 of them. He was sacked by us. Luton Town sacked Nathan Jones, appointed Rob Edwards. And they've just done so well under, they've not got the budget. They don't have the talented players, as you will, in terms of technical ability. But what they've got is they've got hard work, they've got desire, they've got the fan base behind them, and they've got the right structure within the club for them to succeed. Luton, if you look at their past, in the past few years, they come from League 2, they've gone to League 1, and now they're in the Championship, challenging for Premier League promotion. And that, for me, is absolutely, superb. And what a story that is for them. Whereas Watford have done completely the opposite. We were in the Premier League for 5 years. We reached an FA Cup final. That was an amazing experience, don't get me wrong. But instead of pushing on from there and trying to achieve even more, challenging for Europe, becoming a real established Premier League side, we've gone backwards. We've gone, we're going to sell all our best assets. We'll go back into the Championship, have no real plan, no real strategy. We'll get through 3 or 4 managers per season. Yes, we've got Ismail Assar, Joao Pedro. Surely we'll get promoted. Well, that plan hasn't worked. And I wouldn't even call it a plan. I don't know necessarily what I would call it at all, really. It's just been a complete mess on Watford's part. And, for me, I know not a lot of people could go to the game today due to there being such a low allocation of tickets for away fans. I really feel sorry for the fans that travelled, again, spending their hard-earned money. And what gets me more than anything is the fact that, Ismail Assar and Joao Pedro, apparently, from what I've been reading and from what I've seen, didn't acknowledge the Watford fans at all after the game, and they went straight down the tunnel. That could be, frustration on their part. But for me, they should know what this game means to Watford fans. And you should at least acknowledge their support and the fact that, we're not all wealthy people like footballers. Footballers, professional footballers in the Championship, in the Premier League, are paid lots and lots of money. And us as supporters, us as working class supporters, aren't as fortunate enough as them. Going to football, home and away, is a massive financial commitment. And for the players to not acknowledge that after the game, especially after a performance like that, I think is disgraceful. I also want to talk about the comments from Chris Wilder after the game as well. Very, very, very interesting comments coming from him. I've got 3 different quotations to read out to you now, and we'll kind of dissect them because I think it's really interesting reading, actually, and he doesn't hold back at all. So the first quote coming from him, I think he spoke to Andrew French at the Watford Observer after the game, so credit goes to Andrew French for getting these quotes out there really, really quickly, actually. And Chris Wilder goes on to say the best team won. If we carry on like that, then we'll be in mid-table. Well, we pretty much already are in mid-table. Watford currently sit in 11th position. Then he goes on to say this is the proper derby. There's no hiding place today. The opposition players played like they knew that. And then he goes on to say, I think this is the most telling sentence out of everything he says. He says, I think they might need a full cultural reset at the club. So he's basically saying the club, the football club, Watford FC, need a cultural reset. And he's saying that really after only being in the job just under a month. And he's already identified that weakness within the Watford squad. And you know, another quote here: we have players who are so-called talented players. How many times did we turn the ball over? The fans want to see a team, and their reaction at the end of the game said everything. I'm hurting. Are the players hurting? You'll have to ask them that, says Chris Wilder. And then another very, very interesting quote. He says, I'll put my head on the pillow tonight, knowing I personally did everything I could before today to prepare the players for the game. It might be damning, but I wonder if the Watford players can say the same. So Chris Wilder absolutely going in on the Watford squad there, basically completely calling out the club, the culture, and the players. And I don't think I really need to say any more in today's video. Congratulations to Luton Town for winning. Absolutely fair play to you. And actually, you know, I'm going to sit here and say, if Rob Edwards does do the unimaginable and get promoted with you this season, I think, you know, fair play to him and all the best for him, you know, in his future endeavours. Don't get me wrong, the rivalry is still going to be there. I've been brought up as a Watford fan to dislike Luton Town. I still do. However, in this instance and the situation we find ourselves in with actually a former Watford manager in charge of them and doing fantastically well, I wish him all the best for the future. And yeah, you know, for me, that is, in conclusion to this video, that is Watford's season over now, really. I think the gap between us and the player positions is clearly, you know, mathematically it's still possible, but realistically, we are not going to get playoffs this season. We're going to be in the AFL side next season as well. And it gets tougher. You know, we're going to sell our best assets in João Pedro, Ismaila Sarr. I'm sure other players will leave as well. And in terms of the actual division, it gets harder as well because 3 more Premier League teams, 3 more current Premier League teams will get relegated. You know, potentially Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Leeds. These are all sides with a lot more financial power. Their squads generally have a lot more talent than Watford as well. So there's no guarantee next season Watford will get anywhere near promotion either. So as a club, we're in a very precarious situation actually, and I just hope that someone at Watford comes up with a plan that you know, guides us back in the right direction, because I think that's what we all want as Watford fans. Thanks so much for watching my reaction to the derby match today. I really do appreciate your time and your company, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye bye.